Hello everyone, welcome back to the Book Graveyard Vintage Genre Fiction channel here on YouTube. We're also out there in the podcast world. This will be a podcast episode. If you're listening there, thank you very much. On this episode, I wanted to talk PulpFest. It's coming up. If you've been watching my channel the past couple of years, I'm sure you've heard me mention PulpFest many times, worn the t-shirt. There's two videos. There's two PulpFest videos of the tour of the convention and the hall. I will put a link for last year's up here somewhere. I thought it came out really well. It has lots of dealer footage. It's a very long video. You really, I think, get the essence of what it's like in the dealer room. So first things first, PulpFest 2026 is July 30th through August 2nd, and it is in Cranberry, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Pittsburgh. It's the Pittsburgh airport, very close, 10-15 minutes away. The passes are still available. You can still register for PulpFest. And as of the recording of this video, the DoubleTree still has rooms available. That's the hotel where the convention is held at. It usually sells out, so hurry up and get on it. If it does sell out, there are other hotels in the area. One is across the parking lot. The first time we went, we didn't make the cut. We had to stay at another hotel. It was like 10 minutes away. So there's plenty of room, but if you stay at the hotel, the DoubleTree where PulpFest is held, you get a discount on the registration. So in this episode, I'm going to give this quick little introduction here, and it's going to include some of this year's festivities. And then I invited Jack Cullers, one of the organizers of PulpFest, come over right here. Come over, he lives right up the street. To come over and talk to me about the history of PulpFest and what it's all about. And then I'll put together a short montage of last year's footage. I'll try not to include some of the same shots that I used, but you know, depending on how long I want to sift through all that stuff, maybe there will be some repeats. I don't know. It'll be just a very short version of last year's PulpFest video. And then at the very end of this video, I have footage of me printing the shirts. I print the official shirts for PulpFest. So there's the bluey, PulpFest blues. Nobody has the blues at the PulpFest. And then the blacks, PulpFest black. So if you were interested in that, seeing the magic happen, that'll be at the end of the video. So yeah, if you are interested in the pulpy type of fiction that I talk about on my channel or my friends' channels here on Pulp Island, the little section of YouTube that we've created, PulpFest is the epicenter destination for you. So PulpFest this year is celebrating 2 pulp title centennials, Amazing Stories and Ghost Stories. Amazing Stories was the first magazine devoted solely to science fiction. Ghost Stories has supposedly true ghostly tales written by the readers. PulpFest will also be celebrating this year artist Robert K. Abbott, who is most recognizable for his paperback cover art on the Edgar Rice Burroughs books. So along with a fully stocked dealer room, there are lots of panels from pulp fiction scholars and fans. Some of the topics that are being covered this year are Professor Garen G. Roberts, who's a pulp fiction scholar, presents The Rise and Fall of Gernsback's Amazing Stories. Hugo Gernsback was the creator of Amazing Stories. Also, we have The Shaver Mystery, presented by Jeff Shanks, who I know here on YouTube as the Robert E. Howard Scholar and Pulp Academic channel. If you aren't aware of his channel and you want to go to Pulp College, He's the Professor. The Shaver Mystery is an incredible story about a man named Richard Sharp who wrote into Amazing Stories, claiming to have discovered an ancient language from a civilization of prehistoric people who lived in cities under the Earth's crust, and their offspring are still there, projecting evil thoughts into people's minds. So it's kind of like an Atlantis theory. It's not an urban legend. What would it be? Like a conspiracy, paranormal myth? I don't know, but it's very fascinating. So he's going to be giving a talk about that. By the way, go subscribe to his channel. It's wonderful. We've got Mike Chomko, PulpFest organizer, and David Walker, retired paranormal investigator, and they'll be talking the Ghost Stories Pulp magazine and whether the tales inside were truth or pure fiction. And our buddy Wyatt Doyle from the Men's Adventure Library, who we've had on the channel before. We'll be talking Men's Adventure magazines and the Art of Gil Cohen, which they just released a book of not too long ago, last month or so. We have a flip through video of this, by the way, if you want to see more of it. But we're definitely going to be attending Wyatt's panel on Gil Cohen to learn more. And of course, there are lots of other panels about amazing stories and ghost stories. There's also 3 other conventions that happen coinciding with PulpFest. They're all in the same space, all for the same price of admission. Is DocCon, celebrating Doc Savage, of course. FarmerCon, which celebrates the works of Philip Jose Farmer. And a new mini convention called ShadowCon, all things shadow. And of course, there's lots of Edgar Rice Burroughs. As always, there's always lots of ERB at PulpFest. And then, like I said, we have the dealer room. I've always described it as like a museum that you can purchase from. Every pulp title that you can imagine is in there, priced from a few bucks to thousands of dollars. There's paperbacks as far as the eye can see, all genres and prices. There's original artwork, movie posters, comics, movies. There's DVDs, VHS, magazines, fanzines. Pretty much any ephemera relating back to the world of pulp is available at PulpFest. It's a wonderful and welcoming community of all ages, and you can go to pulpfest.com right now, get your registration, get your hotel reserved, your hotel room spot reserved. Make the trip out there. Make it out to Pittsburgh. If you live locally, if you're a drive away, not too far, and you just want to go one day, they have one-day passes for $25. So you have no excuse. Before we get to the interview, just want to say PulpFest, obviously they have the website, but they have a YouTube channel. So if you're subscribed to this channel, you should be subscribed to that channel. And they have the panels recorded. Some of the past panels, you can see what it's like. They have the awards recorded, and it's just, you'll get to see when you watch the videos that, like, these are people who have been friends for like their whole lives, and it's just it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to be a part of. I look forward to it every year, not just for buying the books, just for being in that environment, just for hanging out. You get to hang out in the bar area, in the lobby, or eating pretzels and pizza, drinking beer if you're into that. And just talking old Pulp Fiction, meeting people, hanging out with friends. It is so much fun. It's not just about buying stuff. It's a wonderful community, and it makes you feel good, and it's a great time. So next up in this episode, I invited Jack Cullers, one of the organizers of PulpFest. It's been going for almost since the beginning of PulpFest, PulpCon. You'll see what I'm talking about. He just happens to live up the street from me, so he came right here. We had a chat right in front of the paperbacks, and he's going to tell us all about the history and the future and what PulpFest is all about. So I thought maybe we would start with the history of PulpFest and how it came to be.
Well, PulpFest started out as PulpCon in 1972. 3 guys from St. Louis got together, decided they wanted to hold a convention, so they contacted Rusty Hevelin here in Dayton and asked him, to be involved, not so much, closely involved, but for hints and things like that about how to handle it. So they had the first PulpCon. And this is the I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is a
cool
flyer from the first PulpCon. We've had that for years.
That's from 1972.
1972. There was so much success, so many people were so happy with it that they decided to continue it. And that's when Rusty got heavily involved and moved it to Dayton, and went on from there until 2008 was the last PulpCon. Then it became PulpFest. So that's another story.
And that's where you come in as one of the organizers?
No, I had been going to PulpCon since I forget what year it was, but it's probably the third or fourth one. It was in Dayton and Akron, I Bowling Green. We moved all over back then.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly it was in Dayton. And some of the hotels downtown. And the University of Dayton. We went to the University of Dayton a few years. And I was involved, but I was on the periphery. I wasn't totally involved because back then, to use the right words, PulpCon was kind of a closed society. Mm-hmm. These guys that had started it were leery of new people, I think. They didn't want to advertise. They didn't want to have anything to do with people that were, comic related. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of a closed society. And around 2006, 2007, it really started to taper off. People at one year, I think there were more exhibitors than there were people that attended. So,
yeah.
So we got together, and Mike Chomko out of Pennsylvania and Barry Trailer, also out of Pennsylvania, put our heads together and decided we needed to talk to Rusty and see about, advertising, doing some different things, and they were not interested. So we decided to go off on our own and do PulpFest.
Did they exist at the same time?
No.
No, it was just like he was just done at that point.
Well, we started to have a PulpCon in Columbus because I found a hotel up there that would handle us, and the PulpCon organizers back then, guys by the name of Bob Gorton and Don Ramlow. I was issued a citation that I was going to be sued if we used the name PulpFest or PulpCon. Mm-hmm. So we decided to change it to PulpFest. And Rusty got a little excited about it. He didn't too much care for the fact that we were doing that. But he had told me when he and I first started talking about it that, I complained to him about, people. You need to get more people to come. You need to get more people interested. And he told me, if you think you can do any better, start your own. So we did.
So you did, yeah. That's good. Yes. Be the change that you want to see.
As an aside to that, one of the years in Columbus, we were in a Ramada Inn, which was not the greatest of places. Jay Haldeman, who was a good friend of his, Rusty's, and brought him to PulpFest, and he walked down the hall and walked into the room and received a standing ovation, so that maybe cured some of the ill feelings that were going on.
That's good. Isn't there a video of that on the
Probably.
the website? Yeah. Because there is a PulpFest website.
Right.
That has all of this information, all the background.
Yeah. More than you could use.
I find it very fascinating. I think it's cool that someone started doing this so long ago, and it still exists.
Right.
And it's still going.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Getting back to Rusty, for years after Rusty had taken over and I had become more involved, Rusty and I became friends, and I would go up. He did not live he was not the healthiest of people, and he did not live in one of the nicer neighborhoods, but I would go up and mow his lawn and take care of stuff and fix downspouts, whatever it took. And I went up there one day, and someone had told me that he had died. And Gay Haldeman had been in town. She had taken him to the hospital and stuff. And I found out. So I went up to his house to see what was going on. And someone had broken in. And I got in the house, and they had trashed the place. They'd stolen stuff, stolen a bunch of his pulps, and made the house just a complete wreck. So I called his son and called the police. The police came out, And while I was standing there waiting on the police, some guy walked up just out of nowhere and said to me, he said, you know, if you want to take any stuff out of there, I said, I know a place where you can sell it. And he mentioned the bookery over in Fairborn, which is Tim Cotterell's place of business.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he had taken a bunch of stuff over there to sell and sold it to Tim. And I put out a thing on the...
Wait, some guy from the street came up and said
yeah,
this to you?
from the neighborhood. Yeah.
What? Well, he wasn't the one who broke into the house, was
he knew some guys that had.
Oh, man.
How they'd gone to Tim and sold it.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't say anything at the time, but I put a little thing on Facebook that said, you know, explained what had happened. Tim responded and said that he had bought a bunch of stuff. So when Rusty's son came to town, he went out and talked to Tim, and Tim ended up buying it again. You know, he paid twice. That's
What a good guy.
well, that's the kind of guy he is. He's a stand-up guy. I've got a copy of his newest guide to the pulps here.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's interested in it, you know, it's very concise, very complete. It's got practically everything you could ever want to know about it, and he deserves all the recognition he can get. Because, like I say, he's a stand-up guy. To do something like that to Rusty's son that he didn't really have to do.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And I'll go over and talk to him every once in a while. And he's a nice guy.
Yeah, Tim is nice.
You need to get to know him.
Yeah.
If you don't already.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, we did the interview together. It was great. Yeah, that book that he put out is amazing. Just to, especially for someone who's new to it, just to see all the titles that exist.
Yeah.
Just for that fact alone.
Yeah. Who the artists were, who the stories were, you know, who wrote the stories.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, that's a lot of work. That was like, I mean, that's like a lifetime.
That's one of his
information.
Latest one. He started. Ed Holtz was, you know, a big part of that too. So
he put it out on his Morania Press,
yeah,
right?
right.
Guests that were, because there used to be guests, right?
Right. We used to have a lot of guests. The fact that we don't have as many anymore is the fact that most of the people that we invited have passed on, or you know, the old time pulp writers, there aren't many of them left, if any.
At the first PulpCon, that Lee Brackett and Edmund Hamilton were guests, and over the years, like, is there any guests that you got a cool story of, or?
Oh, we had quite a few of them. I remember one of the ones that I liked, that I met the most. We had Ed Hoke from wrote a mystery writer. Mm-hmm. We have Robert Blanc was our guest several times. We had him a couple times, not for PulpFest at PulpCon. We had a lot of the famous artists, and
yeah, I see Jim Steranko just walking around.
Yeah,
like he wasn't even the guest; he was just there as a patron. That's so cool.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be back this year or not. I do have one story about a guest that I went up to the airport one year at PulpCon to pick up a gentleman by the name of Glenn Lord.
Oh, the Robert E. Howard expert.
Robert E. Howard expert, yeah. And he was a funny guy because he got off of the plane, and the Dayton airport is situated so that you can't get back to where the people are, because of everything that's happened. Mm-hmm. But I hear this guy coming down the hallway, probably, I don't know, 2 blocks away, yelling, "Where's Jack Cullers? Where's he at? I'm supposed to meet him." I'm way down here with a little sign that says, But I didn't need my sign. I just threw it away. He was a funny man. He was a a nice guy. He was a very nice guy.
That's cool. He was one of the speakers, I take it, that year.
He was a guest of honor. Yeah,
that's nice. You see, they just had the Robert E. Howard Days down in Texas.
Yep.
That was cool. That's far away from us, though.
Yeah.
That's a plane ride.
Every year PulpFest gives out an award. It started at PulpCon with what they call the Lamont. And every year people would vote to see who would deservedly receive the Lamont Award. It was a nice print, framed, and a little something extra. Mm-hmm. And it's got to the point now the only people who vote on it now are the past Lamont winners. Although the Lamont has now become the Muncie since we began PulpFest, because that was another thing I was afraid I was going to get sued about. So we changed it to the Muncie.
So what's the award for?
For those who have, we have two awards. We have the Muncie for people who have contributed to PulpFest, to the Pulp Society as a whole. Mm-hmm. And then we have the Rusty Award, which is for the person who does the most to keep it going, to keep the things alive. David Saunders is the artist of the Muncie. I don't know if you've seen pictures of it or not, but it's a real nice award.
So this is other than the PulpFest organizers. This is
this is anybody that could be, considered to have contributed enough to warrant recognition. And
is it people that put together like reference books, stuff like that, or
just stuff that have written articles and done all kinds of history stuff and research and put out books and stuff. We've had quite a few of them.
So let's talk about some of the other festivals that kind of joined PulpFest along the way.
We've had quite a few of them come along. There's ERB. There's the one dedicated to Philip Jose Farmer, FarmerCon. Those guys they've been very supportive. They're there every year. We're adding new ones every year. A lot of them are connected to the Burroughs people. But, if there's room, we'll fit them in.
It's basically like combines the two festivals, or the three, or...
It's probably 4 or 5 of them now. So, where's the... we put out a flyer every year that, if you want to get on the mailing list, just go to the PulpFest website and it'll give you my address. And you send me a note and I'll send you one of these flyers that we have every year. I'm going to give Nick his this year's.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. See, I got the other ones hanging on the lamp over there.
Well, that's not the real one. That's just an example. I didn't put the lateral of it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone you walk around with your lantern, John.
Yeah.
I was telling this story in the
PulpFest
video, and people would say, "Thanks, Nick," after I'd buy it, and I'd be like, "How do you know my name?"
Well,
and I looked down like, "Oh, you idiot!" Yeah. It's right there on your shirt. Yeah. Oh yeah, so the back has the festival of everything that happens at PulpFest, because it's not just dealers.
Right. You have a lot of walk-ins.
You have panels.
Right. That brings up another subject of one of the things that when we were dealing with PulpCon, a guy out of Chicago by the name of Doug Ellis wanted to start up his own convention. It's called Windy City Pulp and Paperback Convention. Mm-hmm. And the previous runners or organizers of PulpCon were very resentful of that. But with PulpFest, they've been very good supportive of us. We support them. They're not a competitor.
Right, it's not a competition.
No, it's not a competitor. They're a very, very different kind of convention. They have a lot of art where we do programming. So we each have our own little world, and in fact, Doug and John Gunnison, the other organizer of that one, still let us use some of their sound equipment during PulpFest.
Oh, nice.
So they cart it from Chicago every year and cart it back on home, but we probably should all think about buying some of our own, but we haven't got that far yet.
So the people who do the panels, they're experts, they're just people who are just in the community.
A little both. There are some experts, and there's some people that just want to get up there and be involved, and do some things. We have, I don't know how many of them, probably 10 or 12, 15 presenters this year. Mm-hmm. So all kinds of different panels. I really haven't studied it myself yet. I just got the programs not too long ago.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a panel about the amazing stories.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, isn't that the theme for this year?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing stories?
Right.
How do you guys pick the themes?
A lot of it's got to do with the anniversaries. If it's been like 100 years since that magazine first came out, why that's why we'll look at it.
That's nice. I was, as a younger person, I'm 48, but it was cool to grow up and see.
I'm not telling you how old I am.
That's fun, Jack. To grow up and see Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, right? You know, and the font comes up, the title, and then 2 years later find this and see that it's just amazing stories.
Yeah.
It's the exact font. That's all he did. He just took it and put it in Indiana Jones. So it's cool to see how pulp affects the art that comes now. You know, like the movies, the paperbacks, everything. It pretty much all came from Pulp Fiction. All the good stuff.
It's gonna be around a while.
Yeah. Or something like that. Is that
I
okay?
think the thing that makes Pulp Fiction most appealing is just, at least for most of it, for some of it, is just good versus evil. You know, there's an ending the way it should be. You know, good triumphs over evil, and
very clear cut.
right, and unlike what's going on today. But it's that's, to me, that's what it is. You know, I'm a big Western fan, and you know, I've always got the guy with the white hat on, and you know, I got that started from my dad. He was a Western writer or reader, and I asked him. He said, "I used to read these in the pulps." And I said, "What's that?" And that's when I got interested. My first pulp purchase was 47 issues of Ranch Romances from some guy.
Rich romance. Huh?
Yeah, from some guy in Springfield. He'd advertised. We used to have a thing called the Trading Post.
Yeah.
Where he would, a little newspaper that come out, and I saw it in there, so I went out and bought them.
Were they
The rest is history.
Were they romance or were they westerns?
Mostly, they were westerns with a romance theme.
Yeah.
You know,
Did
but
you-
they were pulps.
How old were you?
Probably very early 20s.
Did you like them?
Yeah.
But you were like, oh, I gotta find the real thing now.
But yeah, that just led on to others.
Yeah.
You know, because you get to reading some of the authors. I'm always been on authors. You know, their life and how they were. You know, some of the guys like Gruber and Steve Fisher, and it just goes on and on. And I was more interested in learning about the writers as I was the stories. You know, because some of the stories from the early pulps weren't very good. You know, to be truthful about it. And as you got attached to them, you'd read a story by an author that you thought was pretty good, and you'd think, well, I better find out some more about him, you know. So it led to him. I'm big on Western history now, so it's interesting.
Did you ever get to meet any of the Western authors? That,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I met Nelson Nye. Well, we went to Tucson, Arizona one year and had a convention, and you know, Nelson Nye was there and quite a few others, but I can't, let me think about it for a minute.
It's all good. So you guys, they had PulpCon all the way out in Tucson, Arizona?
We had one in Tucson, we had one in San Jose, California. Forrest Ackerman was the guest at the one in San Jose. And I remember a funny story is he wore the same shirt every day. It was a big red shirt. And some little guy in the restroom, because it was a college, we were at the college, and the restrooms were like open, you know. And some little guy came in and looked at Forrest Ackerman and said, "Boy, you must really like that shirt." I'm not going to tell you what Forrest said, but he was a different kind of person, you know.
Yeah. It's a shame that we can't have the authors there now.
Yeah, Ed Hoke was there. I met him. He was a gentleman. He was a really nice guy. I tried interviewing him. I said, you can probably tell I'm not very good at this, but I tried interviewing him at one of the Pulp Cons, and he carried me. You know, he was a gentleman.
Yeah, that's nice when your guests will do that.
Yeah. Elmer Kelton was another guest that I became friends with. He lived in Texas, and I met him I met him in a couple Pulp Fests. I met him at a book show in Austin, Texas. I went to one time, and he and his wife, and they were real nice people. He was one that I remember for a long time.
Did you stay in touch with them afterwards?
Yeah, a little bit. We'd write every once in a while. He was a nice guy too.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be amazing to meet these authors at PulpFest. Are you seeing younger faces?
Yes.
New people show up?
Yes, and quite a few. In fact, we just had my first registration. I just received it on Sunday from a guy in Mexico. We've got Canadians that come down, but it's the first one I can think of that comes from Mexico. So I'm kind of interested to meet him, see what he's like.
That's cool. Yeah. Didn't you say you had one from Sweden one time?
Yeah. No, not Sweden. New Zealand, I think her name was.
Wow. That's far.
Yeah. Well, she only came once.
Yeah. That was it. Just one time.
We have quite a few from England. We have a couple of guys. We have a couple from India. They come to the farmer con.
Oh, really?
Paul Spiteri. He's there every year. One of the differences between PulpCon and PulpFest is that PulpCon, if you were a comic dealer, they wouldn't let you in the door.
Yeah.
But we decided, under certain stipulations, it's got to be the older stuff and everything, nothing off color or anything. But we allowed comic dealers in, a select few of them, and that met with some resistance. And people kept asking me why, and the simple answer was survival.
Yeah,
if we want to survive, we're going to have to branch out a little bit, and because, like I said, the last couple of PulpCons, there were maybe, more people dealing than there were actual people walking in. But we're close to right now. We're pushing. Last year we were over 400. We're pushing for 500 sometime, which is quite a bit for a convention of our size and what we specialize in.
Yeah, I think you told me last year that was the most that had ever come. So maybe we'll beat it this year.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Do you think that the
committee works all year long on this?
I know you guys are like the day after.
Yeah. Mike Chomkov, he's a big deal. He's more or less a partner. And then with Bill Lampkin and Craig McDonald and Dave and Reggie from Columbus, they help. It runs pretty smoothly. Barry Taylor hasn't become part of it for a couple of years. He's had some eyesight problems, and he's going to come back this year, I think, from what I hear. So we'll be glad to see him again. It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, I've noticed that PulpFest is very much a community.
Yes.
That everyone seems to know each other.
Yes. Yes, we do.
But it's very inviting too. Like no one is off-putting if you're like new or you don't know much.
We made that a point. We made that a point when we first started. We went to a convention in New Jersey, Mike and I and Barry, and talked to some of the big dealers, like John Gunnison and some of the others, and we told them, if you support us, we're going to advertise, we're going to get the word out, make sure that more people show up, and I think we've done a pretty good job. One of the things that when I first started going to PulpCon, it was difficult to talk to anybody because they didn't, like I said, they were a closed society. They didn't really want to talk to new people, but we're not going to be that way. We've decided that, if you're willing to spend the time and money to come visit with us, we're going to treat you as well as we can. So.
That's great. It's very, very inviting atmosphere. Everyone's very, very nice and helpful, and yeah. Do you think that adding the comics and the paperbacks and the newer stuff that's one of the reasons that younger people are showing up? Or do you think that they're just there to see the
I think it's just the whole collection of things that people know we have movies, we have comics, we have paperbacks, and one-stop shopping. You can come in and this hotel that we're at now in Pittsburgh, Cranberry Township, has been most helpful to us. They're very wonderful people. The staff goes out of their way to make sure that we're taken care of, and that's not always been the case. Like I said, we started PulpFest in Ramada in Columbus, and we were there one year with a family reunion that got out of hand, and we had broken windows and everything, so we decided that we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Car windows, that is.
Yeah.
So we moved downtown to the big hotel, but that went for a couple of years, but it was in the convention center hotel, but they weren't happy with us because we did not have a banquet, which was their big money maker, So, excuse me, we moved it again to, Mike stumbled across this place in Pittsburgh, so my wife and I went over and talked to them, and they were very gracious, like I say, the lady that runs the place now is, they say that they love to see us come because the people are friendly, the people are not demanding of anything. They just enjoy that we're there. Look forward to it.
So you're going to continue to do PulpFest
at least this year and next year. We'll have to be up for negotiation here before too much longer. We'll probably talk about it this year when we go.
Do you purposely make it kind of in the middle of the Midwest and the East Coast, so people on the East are close and people in the
It's
West?
worked out that way. Yeah. It helps out. Get it from everybody. We got people from South, people from North. It works out pretty well.
Yeah, for the eastern part of the country,
right.
it's like right in the middle.
Right.
The hotel.
I think pretty much the hotel's going to be sold out this year. We negotiated with them to get the whole complete hotel room, and I think we're going to make it. We're going to come up a couple short, I think, but we have a month yet, so you never know.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because usually it sells out, and then you gotta. Because I remember the first year I went 2 years ago, I had to get one that was like kind of further away. It was like 10 minutes away or something. But
the thing of it is that people don't understand is if they stay at the hotel, it keeps our costs down, which in turn keeps their costs down. So if you support us with come staying at the hotel, why it helps everybody.
And it's fun because everyone's just hanging out in the lobby, right? And you can just hang out until it's time to go to sleep until the last minute.
If you want to go to sleep, you don't have to if you don't want to.
No, if you don't want to. Yeah, last year I had the worst headache and I had to go down early. I had to go to sleep. But Saturday, so I missed the auction. Can you tell us about the auction?
Oh, gee, man. This year, we've got some... It used to be that people would put stuff in the auction that they didn't want to take home. But anymore, it's become more of a... Mike runs the auction, Mike Chomko, and it's become a deal where, a thing has to have a certain value before we'll put it in the auction because we don't want to deal with stuff that's,
Right.
Yeah. And then this year, we've got some extra stuff coming in we've got some Doc Savages and some Shadows that Mike and I were able to find and secure, and they're on the auction now, plus whatever else everybody contributes, It usually runs from 8 till about midnight, and my wife and my sister-in-law and my daughter, for me it's a family affair. They run the auction, they run the registration desk, they do the calculations for the auction, and late night probably.
Yeah, all of my friends from YouTube, they were there. They went, and none of them had ever bought a pulp or whatever. But you had these lots, and they were affordable, and now there's like it started, and now they started buying them like for real, just because they went to the auction and it bought like a big lot.
Well, that's music to my ears.
Yeah, isn't it? It's cool. I was curious about your opinion on something. Do you think that, like the bigger names like Lovecraft and Robert E. Howard, do you think that people like find that and then they become so interested that they look back into the past and see that they were originally published in these pulps, and then that's how it leads to more people branching out and discovering other writers,
I think so. I think that helps a lot, like you were talking a little while ago about Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Indiana Jones stuff. Pulp stuff is never going to go away. It's around forever. And the magazines themselves, maybe not so much because they fall apart pretty easily. You got to be very careful with them, but it's a part of American history that I think is going to be around for a long time. And the offshoots of it from the Lovecraft and all the guys like that, even the Western writers. I don't know if you remember or not, it's probably before your time, but back in the 70s and 60s, Westerns were all that was on TV. And so many of the writers that were in the pulps transitioned over. Frank Gruber, for example, he ended up in Hollywood, doing screenplays and stuff like that. So yeah, I think you're right. I think you touched on something that's, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I don't remember how the first time I think I was like at a record store and he had paperbacks and he was like, it was Uncle Aldo's attic in Mesa, Arizona, and he was like, he's like, hey, I got some pulps down here if you want, and I was like, Like, what? Like, and then he showed them to me. It was like amazing stories and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And so I bought one, and I was like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
You know, and then you look further into it, and you discover that it's like this huge world, and that everything that you've loved growing up, that it all came from Pulp Fiction, like the style, like the ideas, the adventure. Oh, it's just so good.
Yeah. Was there a question there?
No.
Attendees. I've got a lot of VHS tapes of old Pulp cons, you know, all the way back to 1983 and so on and so forth, but I don't think I have a VHS reader anymore. So.
What, are you thinking about getting them transferred?
I should, yeah. I really
Digital,
should.
yeah.
If we could set something up at PulpFest to show some of them, I'm sure that there would be a little interest.
Well, you guys have a YouTube channel, too. You can
Yeah.
put them there.
Right. I could do that, yeah.
Who runs the YouTube channel?
Mike.
Right.
Mike runs most of that stuff. He gets a lot of help from Bill Lampkin. Bill does a lot of that too. Plus Craig McDonald does some of the writing, you know. And like I mentioned, there are a couple people from Columbus that come and help us out. Dave and Reggie Powell, who they do, to put the word, they're mostly gophers. You know, they'll do whatever you need to do, whatever needs to be done, rather than having an assigned job. They kind of float.
That's good. So you do have people that just... I mean, you're all volunteers.
Right.
Yeah, no one gets paid.
No, nobody gets paid. No.
So yeah, it's an all volunteer organization.
Right.
And can people volunteer for it, or...
Sure.
But it's not... Can they volunteer for stuff besides the actual setup of the event? Like, would you need help with other things? Like, do you have things that you're like, oh, this is terrible. I wish we had somebody.
Funny you should bring that up, because I'm getting to the point in my life where maybe it's time somebody took over for me.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been trying for a couple of years. Mike's not quite as old as I am, but you know, he's, like I say, it's a year-long job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we making schedules and everything. So I've been looking for a replacement. You know, I keep asking, but haven't. I guess they'll probably carry me out of there on a slab. I don't know. But as long as it's fun, I'm going to do it. You know, what the heck.
Yeah, keep doing it. It's awesome. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
We appreciate all the work. As soon as I found out about it, I wanted to tell everybody.
Huh? Good.
So I've been trying.
Keep trying.
And yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
Right? So everyone, you can still go. There's still time.
Right.
Still room in the actual hotel where the event is, which is
A little. The only thing we have left are king-size beds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
And that's at the Doubletree, right?
Yep. Then just go to the PulpFest, or go to PulpFest.com, and they'll tell you everything that you want to know. Probably even more than you want to know. So.
Yeah, there's also lots of great articles and stuff on there too.
Right.
It's not just about the festival and the Pulpster. We didn't mention the Pulpster.
Right.
Every year
it's
you
going
get
to the printer. It's going to the printer shortly. It's being edited now, and then it'll go to the printer. It's printed locally here in town, and then I cart it back over to Pittsburgh or to Cranberry, which I call it Pittsburgh, but it's not really.
It's the Pittsburgh airport.
Right.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Because if they're flying in, that's what they have to know.
Right.
But I mean, Cranberry's what, like 10 minutes from the airport?
10 or 15, yeah.
And then I think it's like 30 minutes from Pittsburgh downtown.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a hilly place.
Yes, it is.
Good man. Not a fan of driving.
It's a really nice hotel, and we're very fortunate to be there. It's free parking, free breakfast, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Friendly atmosphere.
All right. Well, I'm sold. I'll be there, Jack. I'll be there.
So will I.
And so will you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. See you later.
Thank you.